So I'm going to be starting this week on Saturday afternoon. It's after work at about 7 PM and I'm about to get started on some work for Foot Joust. I'm going to try and create an info box for new level-based unlock items, just like these ones here I use in the tutorial. This will also give the player the option to practice against new enemies if they wish. I'm just going to spend some time experimenting on how I'm actually going to get this pop-up to work, as I don't even know how to search for this kind of solution. Since these rewards are instantiated dynamically, it kind of adds an additional complexity to the whole system. I started by expanding my rewards manager that I created last week by adding an additional field. This would allow you to attach a game object like these pop-up boxes we're going to make later on. These boxes will get passed through and attach the name and details we set up into the instantiated prefab. I then added a small script to the prefab for when it's clicked. It will check if there is a pop-up attached to it to prevent any errors using a null check. This will then instantiate the pop-up. And after testing it, it worked. But it spawns back at the start of the game. I then decided to make it spawn as a child of the camera. This actually took a lot longer for me to figure out than I care to admit. But this is basically where I left it for the rest of the night. The rest of the week I kind of worked on it a bit off and on, but I am very happy with the work I managed to do, so here's what I got done. For some reason that I forgot and didn't document at all, there was an issue creating the pop-up inside of the main camera due to it not having a canvas component. So I made this little pop-up container object for all the pop-ups to instantiate inside of as a dedicated place for them. I also spent most of the night fighting the UI system and kind of learned the hard way about how it's supposed to work properly, which is kind of bizarre because I've spent so much time creating all of this UI already. But I think I'm slowly starting to understand how all these elements works a bit better. It's really kind of hard to explain. And after I finally got it all working again and began to test it on my phone, basically this is what happened. I forgot to select scale with screen size, which is what this does, which basically helps shape and morph everything to the correct aspect ratio depending on whatever device you're using it on. So don't ever forget that, like I did. So the next thing for me to do was actually fill in the boxes and create these pop-ups. So I created two, which completes all the remaining unlockables I have in the game, and set them as a prefab. And then pop them into the corresponding variables in the level rewards manager serializable thing that I made. And after testing them on my phone again, they work great just like this. So the rest of the week I took it a bit easy and decided to do some more fun and relaxing aspects. I thought it was time to create the little icons that appear in the rewards box instead of the exit sign that I was using just as a default. So we now have this little boss icon, just a regular enemy icon, one for when the player unlocks a new map, and one for when they unlock a new obstacle as well. And now when they all appear in the rewards box, they will look just like this. So next I decided to play around with the particle system. I found this great tutorial by Devlog, so thank you for that. And this is what I came up with. This map here is only for demonstration purposes and testing the systems properly, as it's not actually going to be in the game or a proper map. I might actually put it in as a little secret of some kind. But I did actually get it loaded into the leveling system, so you can now unlock it with XP. It will show you this icon here when it's not available, and when you have, you can finally actually play the level. So the actual second level of the game is going to look a little bit something like this. This is just a little mock-up that I made a little while ago. And once I get later into development, I'll actually begin working on it properly. There's still a ton of other things I've got to do before this first. So anyways, that's all for today. I want to thank everybody who's been watching so far. Last week's video gave me a little bit of growth throughout the week. I managed to maintain a continuous amount of views. They were rolling on in, which I honestly thought was my worst video yet, and almost had a break instead. And the video from the week before, which I thought was my best video, did absolutely not as well. But that's just how it goes, I guess. So make sure you leave a comment if you got this far. I really appreciate engagement with you guys and all your comments a lot more than I actually appreciate subscribers at this point. So thank you, and I'll see you next Thursday.